This is a conversation that's kind of tangential to a conversation I've been having with several friends around my age, and probably from even 35 up. That like the last generation parents, it wasn't that they like, yeah, it was so different that they never knew that it was even on the menu that you should take your kid's opinion seriously. It would be
Totally.
like, if you want to talk about the olden days, like go plow the field, go work outside,
Yeah.
or then from do your homework, blah blah blah. And it was really more like these are all people that a lot of immigrants came over from Europe or whatever, and they're just trying to make ends meet. And you even have
Totally.
like the I would say like the English, the British that are North America, they were very stiff upper lip. There was
Totally.
never a time where they thought that like if your kid's crying, there's something wrong. They're like that kid's broken. They
Yes,
they should stop
exactly.
doing that. And so like
Yes.
definitely there's a lot of damage done in those years, but it's unless the with the extreme example, it's hard to fault that generation so much because it wasn't even something that they were aware that they ever should have to do because it
No,
was it was even worse for them. And so like I
totally.
think you're spot on that when you look on Instagram now, you even look at Twitter, you look at even I'm not a TikTok person, but I have friends telling me that like self-help stuff and mental health stuff is all over these platforms. And so
Totally.
I think there's a bit of a harm by people end up using all this
Yeah,
therapy language that they have no idea,
very
and
much
it's
so.
everyone's gaslighting, everyone's a narcissist, blah blah blah
Yeah.
blah.
Yes,
But like I
exactly.
think if it's an entry into maybe understanding how we should accept treatment from other people or partners,
Totally.
etc. I don't know. Do you think it's a plus, or do you think it has there's an issue?
I think, I mean, social media in on the whole, I don't know if I can say is like an overall plus, but I would say the mental
Yeah.
health movement on social media, I'd say overall is a plus, but there still is a lot of harm, exactly as what you mentioned. Really like pathologizing everything, like rather than just kind of seeing it as individual differences and having to put a label on everything. And there is, I want to be mindful about how I say this, but uh, you know, the my belief is that the reason we give labels to different experiences, whether it's anxiety or depression or autism or ADHD or narcissism or any of these sorts of things, it's meant to it should be meant at least to empower, right? It should be meant to be like, okay, let me now see my experience or this person's experience through this different lens and understand like kind of what's within my control here and what can be done and how I can adapt and how I can maybe like change my work environment to really like benefit me. Sorry, I'm just gonna cough. I'll mute myself. Sorry, one sec. To change my, I'll say that again. So, I believe that really there's a lot of empowerment in some of these labels and that we can understand and know ourselves better. We can understand, okay, well, maybe I need to change my work environment based on, these things that I know about myself, these traits that are kind of wired into me, right?
Right.
Or, maybe there are certain boundaries I need to set or, I need to share certain things with people, friends, family, people I'm dating and whatnot, or I know this about them and therefore I kind of know their limitations. But instead, at times, it's sort of being used in a way that I really I can't think of a better word on the spot, but I'm just going to use it. And I don't love this word, but kind of victimizes the individual and kind of puts a person in a place of disempowerment where they're like, well, this is the way that I am, and I can't do anything about it.
Right.
And I think that's really sad. I think that that's I don't see how that's beneficial. I think that can perpetuate shame and perpetuate kind of apathy or perpetuate feelings of depression and powerlessness. And I think that just with these labels and coming to understand ourselves, really that the point should be to kind of know when to communicate to people, when to ask for help, where we should kind of support ourselves, even in our environment and whatnot, for work, for example. And so yeah, so I guess to answer your question, overall, I do think that this like awareness and mental health movement that we're living in right now is like a beautiful thing. And I think it's kind of, it's helping undo some of the harm that generation of the stiff upper lip that you described has done, not intentionally, but this harm around emotions, right? This belief that, okay, well, if you, especially as a man, have any emotions that are other than like anger, like that is still relatively controlled,
Right.
if you feel sad, if you feel hurt, if you feel anxious, if you feel disappointed, if you feel powerless, if you feel any of these things, exactly, you're not
Right.
man enough or there's something wrong with you. And so I think that this movement is really helping heal some of the toxic masculinity that is in our culture that prevents men, especially, from being able to be humans.